Tonight, the story making national headlines. Is there a serial killer in Houston? Bodies turning up in area bayous. We talked to the investigator who would know and what's really going on. Then comedian Steve Harvey in hot water with his daughter. When a relationship ends, should all ties be cut with the ex? Our panel is fired up and ready to sound off. Now on to the Factor Uncensored.
The Isaiah Factor Uncensored starts now.
Thank you for joining us and welcome to the Factor Uncensored tonight. Houston and the nation are asking, is there a serial killer on the loose? 14 bodies have been found in area bayous this year alone and 5 more just in the last week. Investigators are still trying to determine the cause of death of 20-year-old Jade Sage McKissick, a UH college student whose body was found in Bray's Bayou a week ago today. The strange timing has social media convinced something sinister is happening out there.
Something's seriously wrong in Houston. 5 bodies have been found in 1 week in the Houston Bayou, making it a grand total of 15 bodies they've found in just a year. Serial killer, anyone? And it just so happens that one of the bodies they found was the University of Houston student Jade McKissick, who'd been missing since September 11th. Something is definitely wrong here. So just for reference, here's a map of where they found the bodies after they had just found only 3 of the bodies this week. And as you can see, they were all within the Houston Bayou.
Tonight, I spoke with Constable Rosen to separate rumor from reality and find out what the hell is really going on. And welcome back to the Factor Uncensored. Back to our lead story, 5 bodies found in the bayou last week. And the question many had, is there a serial killer out there? We answer that tonight. So, Constable, we were here back in April of this year. Now, just last week, 5 bodies found in the bayou, 2 right here at Buffalo Bayou. What are your thoughts when we're having so many bodies turn up at once?
I mean, it is unique, it's different, and it's concerning. Obviously, we don't know, what the circumstances were surrounding these deaths. Our agency's not investigating, it's the Houston Police Department. But, any number of things. It could be suicide. It could be somebody that, was intoxicated and went in. It's somebody that had a medical condition that came in. And it could be foul play. And so it could be any number of those things, but it is concerning. It's concerning just from the perspective that the time period at which these bodies are kind of surfacing and things like that.
We just had a college student, obviously you're not working that investigation, but a college student found last Monday in a bayou here in the area, identified Thursday. Many people, that brought it back to the forefront for many people. How did a college student, and you can't answer this, but I'm just asking the question, how does a college student end up dead in the bayou?
And that's terrible.
That makes people ask questions about it.
Yeah, no, people logically are going to ask questions. It is concerning. Obviously, law enforcement's going to do what it does and investigate these things thoroughly and make sure that everything. The Houston Police Department's a great agency that is going to be able to get to the bottom of these deaths. The Institute of Forensic Sciences is going to obviously do autopsies to see what the cause of death was. So, law enforcement's on it. I'm certain of it. And from my perspective, we're in charge of the downtown courthouse complex. So this swath of the bayou, we kind of keep an eye on pretty heavily. But these, it could have been suicide, could have been intoxication, it could have been an accident, it could have been a medical condition, or it could have been foul play. And so I'm sure they're working very diligently to make these cases and put these things together so that they can calm the fears of the community.
And when you have a situation where people are not getting answers immediately, they can't make sense of it, now we're hearing talk about a serial killer.
Yeah, and that's what happens.
Have you heard that, first of all?
I have, and of course, people are going to, when they don't get information given quickly, they start watching too many programs on TV, they revert back to their own thinking, and of course, going around and spreading that. It's not There's been no determination as far as I have been aware or made aware publicly. So I think the cases are being investigated, and that's exactly what you want. You want a thorough investigation. You want to make sure you get it right. And the Houston Police Department is very capable of doing that.
Now, you guys keep a boat on this bayou. We're right by the jail.
Yes.
Multiple jail facilities of Harris County in case someone escapes. You have a boat here, and the courthouse in case someone, and we've seen instances where people have left the jail without authorization and the courthouse, and you guys, sometimes they run to the bayou. You have to use your boats.
Yep. Yeah, we do stage boats in and around the downtown courthouse complex in the event that somebody does go into the water, and we're able to respond very quickly. We have people who are trained on operating the boat and swiftwater rescue. And so we're prepared and ready to go in the event that we need to deploy that boat. But the bayous it's a treacherous piece of water. It looks calm, it looks very easy, but it's got it flows pretty quickly. The tide flows, and it all depends on the weather. If the weather picks up, it starts to rapidly go through the city. So you just never know what you're going to get. And some people just again, it could be any number of things, and I would hope the public would just wait and let HPD do their investigation and come to a conclusion. I'm sure that they're working around the clock to make this thing, figure out what's going on with it.
And really quick, last week, 5 bodies found in the bayous. It takes a while if someone tosses a body into the bayou for it to come up, right? Or how does that work?
It's based on temperature. It's based on, what our outdoor temperatures are and the flow of the water, but mainly temperatures. So when it's hot, obviously a body doesn't stay down as long. There's some buoyancy that happens that your body comes up quicker. When it's cold, it stays under the water a little longer. So, but it's going to come to the top.
And for those who read social media and they can't help but run with the rumor of a serial killer, what would you tell those people?
Don't do that. I mean, all you're doing is inciting people. You're making people nervous. You're making people possibly change how they live their lives, how they exercise, their walking and all that stuff. Let's just kind of wait and let law enforcement do its job. That's not helping anybody by saying something that hasn't been determined yet. That's let law enforcement do its job. It could be a coincidence that all these things happen. Maybe it was suicide, but you just don't know. It's terrible to speculate on these things. That's why we have a professional agency. We have law enforcement that this is their job. We have an Institute of Forensic Sciences that will do autopsies and determine the cause of death. And then there'll be more to share with the public, I'm sure.
Leave it to the experts. And right before our program tonight, Mayor Whitmire's staff reached out to the Factor. Here's what he had to say. The cases are not related, and it appears the circumstances are different for each one. The medical examiner will determine the cause of death for the deceased individuals. The Houston Police Department is investigating, and I have confidence in their work. And that's from Mayor Whitmire. We'll be